Okay, so today we're going to really dig into this book, You Are a Badass, by Jen Sincero, and I'm so excited to talk about this one. I think this one is going to resonate with a lot of our listeners.
Yeah, I think so too. It's all about, getting out of your own way and like really achieving what you want to achieve.
Yeah, and it's something we all struggle with. I think everybody at some point feels those feelings of self-doubt or like they're stuck or, like they could be doing more or being more. And so this is really about how to, tackle those feelings and get past them.
Yeah, and I think Jen Sincero does such a good job of kind of, presenting it in this like really humorous and down to earth way.
Yeah, she's really funny. I actually really like her writing style. Um, yeah, so we're gonna kind of go through the key takeaways from the book and kind of like talk about how those can apply to our listeners and help people kind of move forward in their lives.
Sounds
All right, so the first one we want to talk about is this idea of stop letting fear control you. So the book is really big on like fears for suckers, basically,
okay.
and it's really about like how fear keeps us in our comfort zones and stops us from really achieving what we want to achieve.
Yeah, and it's not even like real fear a lot of times. It's like imagined fear,
Exactly.
like things that we're worried about that might never even happen.
Like, what if this happens? What if that happens? Yeah, and
Exactly.
and the book really encourages you to like take action instead of waiting for like the perfect moment,
Yeah, just do it.
right?
Like don't wait for everything to be perfect because it never will be.
Exactly. So what's one thing that you're afraid of that you could take a small step towards today?
Um, well, for me, it's always been public speaking. I've always been kind of terrified of it, but,
Right.
I've been doing it more and more, and it's getting a little easier each time. So I think just like, putting yourself out there, even if it's just a little bit, can really help.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. So the next we want to talk about is believe in yourself and your worth. And there's a really great quote in the book that says, "You are the only you there is and ever will be. Do not deny the world your badassery."
I love that quote.
It's so good, right? And
Mm.
and it really gets to this point that like so much of our success depends on believing in ourselves.
Mhm.
And if we don't believe in ourselves, it's hard for other people to believe in us.
Exactly. And we often get in our own way with like negative self-talk and
Yeah.
like putting ourselves down.
Totally. And the book talks a lot about affirmations and how using affirmations can really help you start to believe in yourself more.
Yeah, because you're basically like rewiring your brain. You're replacing those negative thoughts with positive ones.
Totally. Yeah. So can you give us an example of an affirmation that you like to use?
Yeah, so one that I use a lot is I am confident, I am capable, I deserve success. And just like saying those things out loud, even if you don't believe them at first, can really start to shift your mindset.
Okay, I like that one. All right. So moving on to take inspired action. And this is really about like it's not enough to just think positive thoughts. You have
Yeah.
to actually take action and put in the work.
Yeah, thoughts without action are just like, daydreams.
Right.
Hmm.
Yeah, you have to take those thoughts and actually make them into something real.
Yeah, and the book says you have to change your thinking first and then the evidence appears. So, like, you have to believe it before you see it, basically.
Yeah, I like that. And it also talks about how you don't have to wait to be motivated to take action. You can just start taking action
Right.
and the motivation will follow.
Yeah, sometimes you just got to like force yourself to do it. And then
Yeah.
once you get going, it's like, oh, this is actually not so bad.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So, what's one small action that you could take today that would move you towards a goal, even if you don't feel like doing it?
I think for me it would be to like write just like one page of the book that I've been working on. Sometimes it feels so overwhelming to think about like writing a whole book, but if I just tell myself to write one page, that feels a lot more manageable.
Totally. Yeah. Yeah, I like that one page a day. That's a great goal. All right. So, moving on to let go of negative energy.
Mm.
And this is really about like not letting other people's opinions or negativity bring you down.
Yeah, and it's hard, we're so influenced by what other people think of us.
Yeah, especially in like the age of social media, it's like everybody's constantly comparing themselves to everybody else.
Right. And the book has this really great quote that says, "What other people think about you has nothing to do with you and everything to do with them."
I love that one. It's so true.
Yeah, like their opinions are really just a reflection of their own insecurities and their own beliefs.
Totally.
I mean, yeah.
So, what's one negative belief or toxic relationship that you could let go of today?
I think for me, it would be this belief that I'm not good enough.
Yeah.
I think a lot of us struggle with that and it can really hold us back. So I'm going to try to like consciously let go of that belief and start believing in myself more.
Okay, I love that. All right, so the last one we want to talk about is money mindset matters. And this is really about like how our beliefs about money can actually affect our financial reality.
Yeah. Our thoughts create our reality. So if we're constantly thinking negative thoughts about money, like, I'm never going to be rich or I can't afford that, then we're basically attracting those things into our lives.
Yeah, and then the book talks about how, like, instead of saying, I can't afford this, you should ask yourself, how can I afford this?
Yeah, because that shifts your mindset from like scarcity to abundance.
Exactly. And it's really about, like, believing that you are worthy of financial success.
Yeah, and money is just a tool. It's not good or bad, it's just how you use it.
Right. So how can you start viewing money as a tool for freedom and opportunity instead of a source of fear?
I think for me it would be to start tracking my spending more carefully and really thinking about where my money is going and making sure that it's aligned with my values. Okay, that's a great idea. All right, so to kind of sum up, You Are a Badass is really about taking control of your life and creating the life that you want. And it all starts with believing in yourself and not letting fear hold you back.
Yeah. You have the power to create the life of your dreams. You just have to believe it and then take action.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So for you, our listener, what's one small act of badassery that you could do today that would move you closer to your goals?
Yeah. What's one thing that you've been putting off because you're afraid or because you don't think you're good enough? Go do it today and see what happens.
All right, that's it for this deep dive. We hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.